though some of the ideas of Buddhism may have had their origin, in Vedic Upanishadic, traditions. Vedic Upanishadic traditions. But it was an altogether new religion with its own specific principles and institutions. Discuss. This is asked in 2022. As I said previously also, the nature of questions are strictly not with respect to that particular time period. It is asking much before also. So it shows how you have to interlink. Next one. In 2021, now you see multiple dimensions in single question. The political and economic needs of rulers combined with economic and status needs of the merchant class together provided the receptive cultural milieu cultural atmosphere in which Buddhism flourished. Full stop, comment. This was asked in 2021. So in this chapter, questions are going to be like this. And in the previous class, we have seen various Mahajanapadas, and also we have seen different economic conditions, the existing economic atmosphere in the Indian subcontinent. Please draw India map. In 6th century BCE, we have so many Mahajanapadas, 16 Mahajanapadas. Now the focus of Indian history and cultural, political history as well as cultural history, the focus shifts to the eastern part of India. As of now, up to now we are seeing that in northwestern part, early Vedic period. Now early Vedic period is, the focus is going to shift towards the Gangetic Valley, that is later Vedic period. And similarly during Indus Valley civilization also, Indus is the main core area, and there in later Harappan time period, it shifts to Gujarat and again to Gangetic Valley. Up to now, we have seen like the cultural, economic, social institutions are moving from northwestern to the Gangetic Valley and northwestern to this. In addition to that, already the local cultures are there in different parts of the subcontinent. But early Vedic period, later Vedic period, the cultures dominated this particular region up to now. So this movement we have seen up to now. But now onwards we are going to see the traditions which are going to emerge in this part is going to dominate in all the directions. So this observation you need to make from now onwards. Whether it is political, whether it is cultural, intellectual, everything, now the shift is going towards to this particular area, and from this area it is going to emanate in all the directions. Up to now, early Vedic time period this area, and in this way it has gone. Now these institutions are going to merge. As I said, in our history always one period is going to influence the other period. 1500, these institutions will influence by 1000 BC, and these will influence, and these are going to influence. Now same is the case now around this time period. Buddhism, Jainism is about to come. They are influenced by the existing atmosphere. And around this time period, later Vedic, and these later Vedic did not emerge all of a sudden. They are evolution of early Vedic time period. So throughout our history, this cultural interaction, new elements will come here, and at the same time, some old elements will go. Some old elements will transform also. So this is how you have to see. Some new elements will emerge. Some old elements continue. And some old elements are opposed, are transformed, or modified. So in this atmosphere, a new culture emerges. So this cultural interaction throughout our history is very, very common. This is what scholars mention the Hinduness. But again, the term, if you take purely geographical sense, the people who are living beyond this, Hindus, are the area which is there in Hindustan. If you take purely geographic term, this is the characteristic of this particular subcontinent. Whoever comes, whether someone come from outside, whether someone is there inside, and within inside also many cultural interactions are going to take place. Over a period of time, a specific nature of Indian culture emerges. This is what we call Indian culture. As the outside people have given to this particular land, Hindustan, that we call, actually there was no term called Hindu in any Indian languages. It was the term other people used to mention to this particular land. Can I ask you this question? What is the name given by Mesopotamians to Indus Valley people. Do you remember? Meluha. We don't know what Harappan people called themselves. The people who are living here, they used to refer to this land as Meluha. Similarly, to this land, these people and Central Asian people and later Arabs, they referred it as Hindustan because they were only taking the reference as river Indus. So Sindh is the name in Rigveda also, Sindh, Sapta Sindhva. When that Sindh was pronounced in this location, in this people, S silent, H became Hind. So these are the characteristics of this particular land. And there was no specific term called Hindu in 19th century during British time period. And due to different circumstances, the terminology has taken a twist. But at this point of time in 600 BCE, in this particular geographic location, many cultural elements are there. Already later Vedic elements. In later Vedic, Upanishads, in the end of the later Vedic time period, Upanishad thought emerged and they started questioning the existing evils of Brahmanical tradition. When early Vedic time period was there, a different set of religion. Now once you enter into this particular area, here more population, more resources, more economic activities, and political institutions will emerge, cultural interaction, because there are so many types of cultures. Within this, for example, if you remember Bilan Valley, do you remember in our prehistoric time period, Bilan Valley is famous for which characteristic? Do you remember in prehistoric period, Bilan Valley is known for Paleolithic or Mesolithic? Mesolithic, when it comes to Bilan Valley, in this area, Allahabad and nearby, Mesolithic evidence comes. 500 BC, 600 BC, at that time itself, here settlements we see in the form of Mesolithic, microliths. And gradually they will enter into Neolithic, then they will enter into Chalcolithic. And these traditions are going on. Meanwhile, some new traditions are also entering into this area. So this mixture is going to take place always. At that point of time, these are very dense forests. And they have to clear. By this time, iron technology also came. With the help of iron technology, they could clear, they could colonize more lands. And now, entire economic, socio-economic setup changed. As a result of this, the religious ideas also changed. Various rituals also entered, and some of these are violent in nature. And now, one section, agriculture needs cattle, but religious needs are expecting more cattle to be sacrificed. Now, obviously, opposite views are expressed. And those who want liberal views, they followed those religions which preached liberal ideas. And within the orthodox elements, some people started questioning in the form of Upanishads. You please write up to here, then I will give few points, then one by one we will write. Please let me know if you are done this. Done? Very good. Now, social evils are social circumstances in 6th century BC. For this, you just make one box. In this box, we make a small India map. Here we will refer some of the urban areas. Some urban areas. Rajgir, Shravasti, Vaishali, we can use this Lumbini, Ujjain, Madura, Takshila, Varanasi. You mention these. Now, around 6th century BCE, social circumstances or social evils that prevailed by this time period. Here, by this time period, Varnashrama system. In every institution, you will find some good elements also, some negative aspects also. Varnashrama system, one way it is stabilized. Positive is stabilize. Stability in the society. Because it says 4 stages of life and 4-fold sections. But negative is by birth. Some are getting privileges and disabilities. Varnashrama system and Varna, Jati, Chandala, these are the terminologies associated with this. And later time period, it emerged into castes, subcastes also. Some of the negatives, social hierarchies, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya. These people were called Dvija. And Shudra were only once they lived. Dvija means twice born. They have done good deeds. And if Shudras want to be born again as human beings, they have to serve the other class, social hierarchies. And in this also, in this social hierarchy, these people were allowed to read Vedas, Upanishads, and here Shudras not allowed to know about Vedic thought. So for them, privileges by birth, and here disabilities. This is the atmosphere. Now some rural areas also there, urban areas also there. Wherever you go, this kind of structure more or less is happening. Varnashrama system. So this became rigid. Overall, rigid Varna system. So in 6th century BCE, now trend of society is moving towards this direction. Next one, rituals. Rituals. Positive is through rituals, people attach it to religion. Whatever good elements are there in the religion, people will come to know. But negative is sacrifices, violence, highly complex, So these rituals were promoted for material well-being of priestly class. But on the other hand, all people cannot follow these rich practices, and people are looking for simple practices to know about the God and towards the religion. So this complex, now what happened? As a result, expectation is people are looking for simple way of religious life. Simple way of religious life. And when it comes to this area, Varnashrama system, people are looking for better privileges or equality. Rigid Varna system, here people are expecting liberal system. When it comes to this area, people are looking for simple way of religious life. Next, let us write particularly about violence also, animal sacrifice. Animal sacrifice is negative aspect, promoting violence. And why animals are sacrificed? For various ritual practices. It could be, when it comes to reasons, political reasons. For example, Ashwamedha sacrifice. On various occasions, to show the strength of rulers, they used to encourage these sacrifices, political reasons. Then when it comes to economic needs, Brahmanical tradition is expecting for promotion of various like agriculture, for every season, for every new practices of agriculture comes, when you do puja, that puja is associated with animal sacrifices, trading, etc. And religion, for worshipping gods. This is political, economic, religion, and even survival purpose also. Since at Paleolithic stage, it is very common practice, hunting animals. For survival purpose also, these traditions in Vedic tradition itself or Brahmanical tradition itself. When it comes to survival, non-Aryan fold for food. Because hunting gathering is continuing. Some people are yet to enter into the agriculture practice. They were still practicing domestication of animals. And when you are surviving on domestication of animals for food purpose, also you are going to do this practice. And this practice is there since Paleolithic stage. Now it is continuing. Even today also we say this. Animal sacrifice. Next one, condition of women. So whenever women's status comes, you keep remembering from early Vedic time period onwards. Sabha, Samiti, Vidata, religious hymns are also composed by them. In later Vedic time period, somewhat restrictions. By 6th century BCE, you will see more disabilities. Status of women. Here, decline. Disabilities imposed. They have to depend on father, husband, son, patriarchal society. Patriarchal society. Education. Religious. Thought. Restricted to know. Shudras and women were denied basic education and they were denied access to the religious ideas as well. And now these are the things which we are going to see exactly the liberal views of Jainism and Buddhism. You just mentioned these. When it comes to religion and Buddhism and Jainism, just you write the opposite view. That is going to be the what are the how Buddhism Jainism raised the condition of women. It allowed into Sangha. It did not discriminate. So those elements you have to know what the existing evils. Then exactly opposite. Some religious leaders like Vardhaman Mahavir and Buddha, they were preaching the opposite. Women's status. Now, economic inequalities. Economic inequalities. Wealth creation in 6th century BC. This wealth in the form of cattle, in the form of agriculture, in the form of coins, in the form of jewelry. Wealth creation. Now, all people cannot have all these elements. Some have land, some didn't. And same is the case. Poor versus rich. Economically, they are not no equality. Do you see even today also these kind of problems are still persist? economic inequalities. Here, when it comes to Brahman, again, don't think that all Brahmans are rich people. Within Brahmanas also, rich, poor. You will have these differences. Those who got more opportunities in the form of sacrifices, more clients are there, they become rich. But there will be some people who are not interested in this kind of sacrifices, but they want simple living, simple religious idea. And in fact, some of these people are going to question about these evils, and in the form of Upanishadic thought, it is going to emerge. And it is not that only poor Brahmans, in which rich Brahmans also, you can expect this, but you can see difference within Brahmana also. Kshatriya, and same who are ruling, who are not ruling. And they want support, and whatever is the latest trend, and these who are not ruling, they will support. Those who want more power, they will support new ideas. Vaishyas, same is the case. Rich, poor, and Shudras. When it comes to Shudras, comparing with all the other, more or less they are poor. Because everywhere disabilities. They cannot hold like land like the other. They cannot hold wealth like other, because opportunities are limited and they are supposed to serve the other. When you are serving other, then obviously your economic status is going to be very weak. And outside these, Chandalas, and you can imagine Shudras themselves more limitations. Now Chandalas going to be more poor. And this is those people who came to the Aryan fold. There are people who are not there in the not Aryan fold, so non-Aryans. So these kind of, now even today also similar condition, you can see some people are rich, some people are poor. And those ideologies also politically. Now Kshatriya means ruling, you can think. The administration are ruling. Today the administration ruling structure is different. We are living in a different time, democracy. The ideology which supports equality, which supports women empowerment, the ideology which supports the liberal views in the society, they get more attraction in the present times. And same is the case at that time also. Now new leaders are going to propagate liberal ideas and more attraction towards them. Because in the existing system, these evils are there. Economic inequalities. Next one. Economic needs. Particularly, if we talk about Vaishyas, economic needs, for example, trading class. Trading class requires investment. And they need to borrow money, borrow for interest, but Brahmanical tradition decried lending activity. But for promotion of trade, investment, you need capital. capital on interest is decried by the Brahmanical tradition. Now those who supported this, people followed them. Requires investment, borrow for interest, money lending activities, there were some people who are depending on money lending activities, Brahmanical texts, Brahmanical ideas did not encourage. Didn't encourage. And these traditions we are going to see even till today also. For example, in 1857 revolt, do you remember some of the soldiers, they don't want to cross the sea. Do you have some idea why some of the soldiers during 1857 revolt? One of the causes is social causes. Some of the soldiers denied that they are happy or they are not happy to cross the ocean. Why do you think that? Exactly. So they felt that it affects their social status and it affects their existing norms. And they felt that in their own society, they will be outcast or other people will not respect them and they will lose the caste. So that is how the fear. We are talking in 1857. Now we are in 6th century BC. You can see at that time period what kind of conditions will be there. Yes, Tarun. Guilds, bankers, it will destroy their religion. Yes. Money lending activities. But now economy is flourishing. Agriculture is flourishing. Artisan activities are flourishing. Trading activities are flourishing. More and more areas are getting integrated. Transportation system is improving. Naturally, in this atmosphere, people wanted to become more wealthy by involving in more economic activities. But existing social norms are not encouraging. As a result, whoever promoted this liberal view, they got the support. So these are economic needs. Do you read the question, that one? The first question which I have given you. Not first one, second one, 2021. You can underline that the political and economic needs of rulers combined with economic and status needs of the merchant class. Do you see the second part? The economic and status needs. So these are the economic needs of the merchant class. And when it comes to economic status, now in this social Varna system, they are given the third position. Now we will see that part. Didn't encourage. Economic needs. Needs of rulers, those who are in administration, they have different needs. And these rulers, one is wanted more taxes. They wanted more taxes so that they can expand. They wanted to expand the territories. continuous expansion. Now you see the ideology of imperialism. They were following imperialist ideology. What do you mean by imperialist ideology? Even in modern India also, we often see this term, British imperialism. Do you have any idea what do you mean by imperialism? Imperialism, it is the idea of perpetual expansion. If one land comes under your control, then you want to expand to the next territory. Now you see this. Here, Magadha is there. Now Magadha ruler wanted to expand in all the directions. Similarly, the neighboring kingdom also wants to expand. For example, here Avanti is there. Avanti also wants to expand in all the directions. So this is what we call imperialism. Expanding their territories. These are the needs of the rulers. Because wanted more taxes, wanted to expand. Now, if you expand to the new area, now you will get new agriculture land, more taxes, more trade, and your country or your kingdom becomes more powerful. So they were following imperialist ideology. They wanted to build empires. And in this atmosphere, we are going to see first time in our Indian history, first empire will emerge. That is, example, Magadha Empire. Magadha Empire, we will also see Magadhan imperialism. When it compares now total, there were 16 Mahajanapadas. Among all the 16 Mahajanapadas, Magadha could become more powerful. Magadha could enter into the almost every area. And by the time Mauryans come, now here this is one of the Mahajanapadas in 600. By 250 BC, it expands. Kingdom is Magadha, but it was ruled by different dynasties. Maurya is one of the dynasties. By the time Mauryan dynasty comes, almost entire subcontinent comes under Magadha Empire. How that is possible? That is, it was the age of imperialism. They wanted to expand continuously, and this is the need of the rulers. And they wanted more taxes. They wanted to expand, and they were following imperialist ideology. Now, for this, they need strong agriculture base and strong trading base and strong industrial base. Now, when it comes to agriculture base, in the form of sacrifices, cattle wealth is being decimated and it affects the agriculture productivity. And when it comes to trading, Brahmanical religion is not encouraging the trading activities, money lending activities. As a result, trading activities will affect. And agriculture base is not there, trading activities are not there. Naturally, industrial activities are also will limited. If they are very strong, it generates more taxes. If more taxes come to the king and they become more powerful and they can expand their territories because they can use that tax on soldiers, military expansion. So they wanted to build armies, strong armies. For building strong army, you require strong economic. Even today also, we are importing weapons from outside country. Suppose if we are strong economically, and if our industrial base is very strong, then we need not to import the weapons from outside. We can manufacture ourselves. Even today also we are having this problem. Because you need strong industrial base. And same is the case with those rulers also. They wanted to build strong armies so that they can expand their territories. More taxes will come. So that is how they wanted. And also there is one more reason. When you have so many kingdoms, if this trader enters into this kingdom, a new kind of tax, and when you enter into this new kind of tax, and when goods are entering into this, new taxes and new taxes. By the time this particular good come to this particular area, the price of the goods and commodities are going to increase a lot. Suppose if everything is coming under single empire, then single rate applies, single taxation system will apply to that particular good, and the cost of products will come down, and it will enhance the trading activities. This is one of the same reasons why we wanted not different state laws, but goods and services tax, GST. Today, because we are able to implement GST, why? Because all these, every part of the subcontinent, every part of this land belongs to single central authority. But if there are multiple kingdoms, multiple states, and multiple countries, now you imagine, for example, Bangladesh is one country, India one country, Pakistan one country, Afghanistan one country. Suppose if all the four are under single authority, the price of Bangladesh good is almost similar when it comes to Afghanistan also. But now in Bangladesh, there is a different country, one price applies, import-export duties. Again, when it enters into Pakistan, different export-import duties. When it enters into Afghanistan, different export-import. Now, if you want to export or import, then the price of the cost will increase. But if these areas come under single authority, smooth flow of transition, it will enter. Wanted to build armies, and now these people wanted to expand the trade also. If you want to expand the trade, you are going to expand till the ocean route. So for strategic, they wanted to reach different geographical areas, but trading activities are limited by the existing thought. So these are the economic needs of the rulers also. This is one aspect, economic needs of the rulers. And there is other angle also. They wanted to build strong armies. Army requires recruitment from able people. They wanted to build armies. Armies require able people. From all sections of society. All sections of society. But here, when it comes to this Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, now as a result of this, almost Vaishyas and Shudras, most part of the society is outside. Mostly Kshatriyas were fighters, soldiers, but there are other people, Vaishyas and Shudras. You can use the talent, able soldiers, but existing social system is limiting this, and now they promoted liberal views. Rulers promoted liberal views. That is why when it comes to this area, why Magadha became so powerful, and also why particularly in the Magadhan region, new religious thought like Jainism, Buddhism, Ajivaka, Charvaka, so many such kind of thoughts emerged in this part, not in the western part of the Gangetic Valley. Why? Because here in this area, this is monarchy. In monarchical states, and also this is the area where more Vedic traditions entrenched very strongly. The Brahmanical thought is more influencing the rulers. And even if you deviate from the existing norms, you will be punished. But when it comes to this part, still Vedic ideas or the Brahmanical tradition is not that strong comparing with this part. As a result, rulers are also expecting liberal views in the society which satisfy their needs also, economic needs of, and also the political needs of the rulers. As a result, when there were some kind of liberal views, they encouraged. For example, Vardhamana Mahavira and Buddha both were patronized by Magadhan rulers like Bimbisara and Ajatashatru. And similarly, Kosala king Prasenajit, he also patronized Buddha. So likewise, the rulers themselves encouraged new liberal ideas because it is satisfying rulers' needs also. Rulers' needs, economic needs as well as the political needs. And they also wanted stability. So this is armies. Next one, rulers wanted stability in society. You particularly underline this, very, very important, very, very crucial. Every ruler wanted stability in the society. They wanted to expand to the new territories, and they have to fight with the armies of other kingdoms. But instead, if there is no stability within the kingdom, most of your resources go waste. And also, you are going to fight against your own people, and stability will not be expected in such kind of kingdom. Even today also it is relevant. For example, Naxalism is there. If we are fighting with our own people, and if we are diverting our military diverting our military equipment, police equipment to our own people, then what about the protection near the boundaries? We have to protect our borders from the external aggression. For example, this side China, this side Pakistan. And we need to safeguard our territories from the outside threat. But if we are busy in killing our own people, if we are busy in stabilizing our own order, and meanwhile our attention is diverted, and meanwhile the boundaries are not going to be secure. So today also same issue, the stability. We also expect the same stability in the society. That's why we don't want problems like Naxalism. We don't want problems like communalism. In the name of religion, if people are killing each other, then our attention, any government's attention goes towards stabilizing the society. If we are weak, then the outsider aggression will be shown on India. They will expand into our territories. We will lose our territory, and we were busy in killing our own people. So this is why stability is very much required for any kingdom or any country to flourish. So today also same thing, only the problem name is changing, but the character of the problem is same, whether it is 6th century BCE or 21st century. So this is why, whether, now this is a very, very recurrent theme today also. Rulers wanted stability in society, starting with Magadha. They promoted Buddhism Jainism. They wanted stability within society also. And also it is helping the rulers also to expand. Magadha is one example, Bimbisara and Ajatashatru. By the time Ashoka comes, he also wanted stability in society. That is why he propagated Dhamma. Dhamma, he took good elements of all the religions and he propagated his own way of stabilizing the society. In UPSC also, questions are going to come in this angle. Dhamma is not only for stabilizing and also for a political need. So not only to make peaceful society, it's not only a moral code of conduct, but also a political aggrandizement. Religiously, it gives some ideals, but for political needs also, these new religious ideas will help to stabilize the society. Rulers are expecting this. As a result, when new religions like Buddhism, Jainism emerged, they encouraged it. Rulers wanted stability in society. And also, if more and more lands come into their area, their lands will increase, agriculture will increase, trading activities will increase, and taxation will increase, and kingdom become more powerful. Economic needs, political needs, they encouraged it. Now you read the question, 2021 question. The political and economic needs of rulers combined with economic and status needs of merchant class together provided the receptive cultural milieu in which Buddhism flourished. So already rulers are expecting some change, and also merchants are expecting some change. Shudras are expecting some change. When people are expecting some change in society, now if someone comes with a new liberal idea, more people will follow. Same thing with respect to 1940s also. People are expecting freedom. That's why leaders, when they gave the call to fight against the imperialism, when they wanted to fight, people are already expecting freedom because there are restrictions on agriculture, deindustrialization, education system is weak, people are not able to administer themselves. People, large scale people are expecting some change. That is why when leaders gave call for freedom fighting, people entered into movements like non-cooperation movement, Quit India movement. So likewise, we are going to see. And before that, for example, in 19th century, in 1885, in 1890, people don't have that kind of awareness. And people don't know what really exactly wanted. We don't know how this nation is going to be integrated. That's why in the initial stage, people were not ready to enter into the mass struggle. But gradually, when people are ready, when new leadership comes, more people will. Leadership also important. At the same time, the emotions, sentiments, and the expectation within society also important to see any revolutionary change. And same is the case in 6th century BC also. By this time, society is already expecting some kind of change. And now when leaders, charismatic leaders like Buddha, Mahavira came, and they became the pioneers, or they became the path showers for this new change. As a result, more people, common people are followed new religions. Rulers also gave patronage to the rulers. Is it fine up to here? Understood? Tarun is asking question, how can we say that Brahmanas were antithetical towards trading activities? This is based on this particular Dharma Sutras. Economic needs. Here, this one, Tarun. Dharma Sutras. In Dharma Sutras, the literature, the ideals were saying that those who were involved in trading activities and they some kind of disabilities, religious disabilities, and they were not given the hierarchy, social status within this Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudras, and whoever, this is the existing theoretical norm. And in this, again, as a Vaishya, you are supposed to follow certain code of conduct within Brahmanical tradition. And this code of conduct is against money lending activities. But in the existing society, economic activities are flourishing, and some people naturally wanted to involve in such activities. But when you go outside, you will involve in money lending activity. But when you come home, you will see the pressure within the family, within the society, that you are not following the existing social norms. This social pressure made these Vaishyas, those who are involving in trading activities, they were expecting some new liberal idea. Those ideas which will enhance their social status and which will not give them any disability within the society. Money lending activities. These Dharma Sutras, they were saying they are not encouraging this code of conduct. In this code of conduct, money lending activity is not there. Is it all right, Tarun? In Varnashrama Dharma, so by this time new institutions emerged, new ideas emerged. As a result, now people are some disabilities within the existing norms, and these people are expecting some new liberal way of life, liberal code of conduct. That is why Buddha has given, Buddha, he never said he is starting a new religion. Mahavira never said he is doing religion, Jainism religion. It was no religion that time. It was only code of conduct. Just a simple way of living, that you can live this way also, you can live the other way also. And this is what we called Sanatan Dharma. There was no term called Hinduism. It was only called Sanatan Dharma, that was existing since ancient times, that code of conduct in society. Brahmanical idea is giving one code of conduct. Buddha has given different code of conduct. Jaina has given different code of conduct. When people are expecting some change in this code of conduct, and they followed according to their needs. By 6th century, these are the expectations. And when new religions preached a new way of life, many people started following it. Up to here, all right? So these are various social needs, economic needs. In 2014, there was a question, you write this. These are the existing in 6th century, but most of them are relevant even today also. You write this question, 2014 question. Write this. Buddha's teachings. Buddha's teachings to a large extent could be helpful in understanding and resolving the problems of today's society. Problems of today's society. Analyze critically. Analyze critically. One more question. This is with respect to Jainism. Similar question. Because Jainism and Buddhism flourished in the same atmosphere. This was asked in 2011. Assess the importance of Jain tenets. Assess the importance of Jain tenets and their relevance to humanity. So relevance to humanity. So even till today also, these ideals are relevant. And before the questioning of the practices Buddha and Jaina, already in Brahmanical tradition itself, Upanishads started questioning. And now these ideals are going to be influencing, Upanishadic ideas are going to influence Buddha also, Jaina also, Mahavira also. And they gave new tenets. And in society overall, Upanishadic thoughts also, Jainism also, Buddhism also, Charvaka philosophy also, multiple thoughts are going to emerge by this time period. And this is the understanding, this is the foundation to understand why these ideas are flourishing. Particularly in 6th century BCE, why these things are emerging. It is not that it is very surprising that not only in India, now you see in the humanity itself how these kind of changes are going to happen. It's not only about in India. Around the same time, when Buddhism, Jainism flourished, 6th century BCE, around the same time period in China also, Confucius, almost similar kind of ideology there also. Now you see, the age of 6th century BCE important not only in Indian history, but entire in the world history, in the history of humanity itself, this 6th century BCE is very, very important. Whatever problems this particular land is facing, and this land is also facing. Today we are calling it as China, today we are calling this land as Bharat, India, Hindustan, different names. But at that point of time, 6th century BCE, just purely in terms of geographic location, you think this area was also undergoing some kind of social upheaval. And leaders like Confucius, he gave new path, new light. That's why these people are called. There was one scholar who has written a book on Buddha, and he called Buddha as Light of Asia. So whenever society is in darkness, these leaders gave the light to the society. So in philosophical terms. So likewise, 6th century BCE has seen philosophers like Confucius in this part, Buddha, Mahavira in this part, and in this part also, Zoroastrianism. The leader of Zoroastrianism also flourished around the same time period. And here also, Zoroastrianism, like Buddhism Jainism flourished here, Zoroastrianism is about to emerge in 6th century BCE. Here like Magadha kingdom patronized these new religious ideals, and here also Achaemenid Empire is about to patronage new religious ideals. And here also it was the mixture of past ideas. Do you remember? Like when Rig Veda is here, what is the contemporary book of this particular land? What is the contemporary book? Aryan book, which is important in this particular land. Avesta. So Avesta, earlier version. Here Rig Veda. And up to 6th century BCE, this particular land also dominated by Avesta. This particular land also dominated by Vedic. Now gradually new elements, new social needs are coming. As a result, new religious ideas are also about to emerge. Achaemenid Empire patronized this and this. And similarly, around this time period, in these lands also, we are going to see different philosophies. And you can see gradually this land is going to see various, by 300 BC, we will see so many philosophers. For example, here Pythagoras, then Herodotus, then Aristotle, Plato, many people, many philosophers are going to emerge. But their foundation is also around 6th century BCE. You are going to see the change. So 6th century BCE is not only important for India, but entire whole humanity itself. And many of these philosophies, even today also we are following these philosophies. Greek philosophies and Herodotus, Aristotle, Strabo, Plato, they are going to emerge around this time period. By 300 BCE, we are going to see many of these philosophers. In this area, Zoroastrianism is about to emerge, Buddhism, Jainism emerges, Confucius ideals are going to emerge. So this is how around 6th century BCE, the light of humanity emerged in different parts of the world. Why it is happening? Because the existing requirement of the people. And at that time also, same almost whatever we are seeing today, similar kind of circumstances. Now, Upanishads versus Brahmanical. traditions. All right, because before understanding Buddhism, Jainism, we need to have some idea about Upanishads, because within Brahmanical fold itself, these questions emerged. Now here, Upanishads versus Brahmanical tradition. Rituals. You write like this. Brahmanical and Upanishads. Rituals. When it comes to Brahmanical, more important. Rituals to various gods, to various occasions, to various varnas, various ashramas. Now you see, according to various tradition, you have to follow these rituals according to gender. Male different ritual, female different ritual. Ashrama system, 4 ashramas, different rituals. Different varnas, different rituals. Different occasions. If you are doing agriculture, one type. Then other agriculture profession, trading profession, industrial activity, different ritual, different gods. And these are very essential for the Brahmanical religion. And Upanishads, they started questioning what is the purpose of. Questioned the need of rituals. They questioned the need of rituals. Then Brahmanical tradition says these rituals are important to satisfy the gods. But Upanishads shifted this transformation. Instead of focusing on ritual, they focused philosophy is more important than a ritual. Understanding the God, understanding religion is more important than blindly following the rituals. Question the need of ritual. But again, you need to see one more difference here. Even though they are questioning, they completely did not deny the rituals. Upanishads also, even though they questioned the need, but they gave different interpretation rather than completely attacking the ritual system itself. They questioned the need of rituals, focused philosophy more. Then sacrifices. Brahmanical. essential to religious and social life. Upanishads, they questioned the need of sacrifices. So they used to question, what is the purpose when Brahmanical tradition says, for this particular occasion you need to follow this sacrifice? Then Upanishad says, what is the purpose of this sacrifice? How this sacrifice will help people to reach the God. Sacrifice essential to religious and social life, and this purpose, when it comes to Brahmanical, most accumulation of material wealth, both rituals and sacrifices, Brahmanical tradition is promoting them for accumulation of material wealth. For example, if you are a agriculture purpose, then to get more agriculture product. If you are a ruler, to get more land. And if you are fighter, then to get victory in the battles. Likewise, for the materialistic life, accumulation of material life. But here, the purpose of religion or purpose of these rituals and Upanishads, they started saying that spiritual gain. So Brahmanical tradition focused on accumulation of material wealth, and Upanishads focused on spiritual wealth. Attitude towards Vedas. Attitude towards Vedas. Here, Vedic hymns are used for materialistic life. And same Vedic hymns are used to know ultimate truth. Ultimate truth of religion. So Brahmanical tradition says Vedic hymns, if you follow Vedic hymns, you will get better materialistic life. In Rigvedic time period also, the basic tradition, Vedic hymns are used for Praja, Pashu. And in later Vedic time period also, that continued. In addition to that, more sacrifices, more rituals came. And now Upanishads started questioning in the beginning stage itself, what is the purpose of these Vedic hymns? To know the ultimate truth of religion. What is the exact nature of the religion? And this is how these philosophical speculations, because of this kind of ideology, philosophical speculations emerged. Next one. deities. Brahmanical, to satisfy the deities. Upanishads. When it comes to Brahmanical tradition, believes in so many deities. To satisfy so many deities, different rituals, different ideologies, different sacrifices. But Upanishads, instead of all these deities, Upanishads saying that these deities are irrelevant when you know the single source of universe that they called Brahman. Brahman, ultimate source of everything in this world. So Upanishads focused on knowing this ultimate truth. Brahmanical tradition focused on different deities, how to satisfy them. Deities means different gods. In Rigvedic time period, we have seen Indra, Agni, Varuna. And in later Vedic time period, Indra, Agni, Varuna, they are there. But like other, Vishnu, Shiva, Brahma, here you need to see, this Brahman is different and here Brahma is different. And this is the source of ultimate reality. Everything emanates from this. And here Brahma is one of the deities of many deities. And here Upanishad says all these deities also take source of energy from single source of energy, that is Brahman. Ultimate source, it also called as universal soul. Universal soul. So Brahmanical, multiple gods. Here, when it comes to this, singular reality, that is called Brahman. Then when it comes to social hierarchy, strict. Social hierarchy, they promoted strict hierarchy in society, and Upanishads did not. Upanishads did not. And the last point, nature of self, Brahmanical practices are more outward and community based. Here, attention is towards inner self. Inner self, also called Atman, individual soul. And last you can see liberation, people, gods, people, Brahman. Here, rituals or sacrifices, and here, understanding. Individual soul, this is universal soul. In this concept, if people want liberation from this cycle of birth and death, you have to follow these rituals very strictly and satisfy the gods without any fail, then you will be liberated from this cycle of birth and death, from the suffering. Whereas Upanishad says every individual is having the soul and there is universal soul called Brahman. If you understand this reality, without any sacrifices also, people will be liberated. You can see this. Here ritual sacrifice are mandatory to get liberation from this suffering. And here it is not mandatory in coming out of this cycle. And when it comes to Buddhism and Jainism also, almost similar kind of understanding we are going to see. That is why Buddhism, Jainism has taken the thoughts of Upanishads and they modified it according to their circumstances. Is it all right up to here? This is very, very crucial. And once you know this, in many places these Upanishads are often will come. We are in 6th century BCE. Around 7th century AD or 8th century AD, Adi Shankaracharya, he is going to give new understanding, new interpretation to these Upanishads, and that is going to be a continuous phenomena in Bhakti tradition. In Bhakti movement, they are going to often use these fundamental philosophies. And same is the case with the medieval time period also, Bhakti Sufi movements. And in British time period, modern India also, socio-religious reform movements. Raja Ram Mohan Rai, Swami Dayanand Saraswati, Swami Vivekanand, many people, whenever a society is in crisis, whenever Indian society is in crisis, these Upanishads are going to become a solution to modify or to pull society out of this suffering. This understanding is very important. Now on top of this tradition, because this was already is going on, if we see the timeline, 1500 BC, early Vedic. By 1000 BC, later Vedic tradition. By 600 BC itself, Upanishads. Upanishadic thought emerged. And after 600 BC, we are going to see Buddhism and Jainism. In fact, even though Jainism emerges from here, but it is going to become very strong in this part of time period. So that is why when it comes to Buddhism, Jainism, they take inspiration from this. Again, Upanishads are not alone. They did not emerge out of emptiness. Already later Vedic texts. On top of this thought, it emerges, and later Vedic text emerged from out of Rig Veda. So Rig Veda emerges out of previous ideas. This is a continuous process. And later Advaita we will see in 7th century AD, 8th century AD. And in socio-religious reform movements also in modern India, we are going to see the revival of good elements about these traditions. Up to here clear? Today we will stop here. Understanding Upanishads is important, and I have given you the background for the rise of Buddhism, Jainism and Upanishadic thought also. Questions are mostly focused on in this aspect. Why? Here the facts about Buddhism, Jainism will not come in mains examination. They are more in prelims. But when it comes to mains, questions are asked about under what circumstances Buddhism, Jainism emerged, and under what circumstances Upanishads emerged, and how Upanishads influenced Buddhism and Jainism. So this is purely in terms of mains orientation. That's why I did not give different facts related to Buddhism, Jainism or other Upanishads. I am giving you purely mains orientation. Is it all right, Sanju and Bharti? Understood up to here? All right. Tomorrow we will not have class, August 15th. Tomorrow public holiday, and day after tomorrow we will meet. All right? Okay. Thank you, Sanju. Thank you, Bharti. We'll meet day after tomorrow.